Hi, my name is McKenna, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to build a paver patio. Here's a picture of me from last summer when I was helping build a patio, just to show you that I have done this before. So my message is going to include some materials you're going to need, tips and tricks that I have learned while working with S. Wurzelbacher Landscapes, and the actual patio building process. So before you start building anything, you need to determine where your client wants their patio, for example, a back porch patio. Then you need to determine what challenges may occur throughout this whole process. That way you can try and plan ahead and avoid them. I know this may be kind of difficult, but taking a minute and just trying to figure out what could go wrong will actually save you a lot of time. Then you need to talk to the client and figure out what their budget is for the whole patio and how big they would like the patio. So for some materials, you're going to need to find out the style, size, and color of the patio pavers the client likes. Then you need to determine how much gravel or crushed limestone, is what you use for this, you need to build the foundation for the patio, as well as coarse sand, joint sand, and patio paver sealer. Next, some tools that I recommend using. You don't have to use these exact tools, but I think these tools make it most easiest. Street pipes, a push broom, plate compactor, as well as various types of shovels, a trowel, a hammer, laser level, brick saw, and the blueprint. Next, you need to order your materials. My first tip, I'm going to be providing various tips and tricks, like I said before. My first tip is to get your materials delivered to you. I know this can be pricey. In my area, it's anywhere from depending on small stuff, it's anywhere from $50 to even up to $300 for getting your materials delivered. But it also depends on what you're getting delivered, the amount of materials you're getting delivered, and how far the distance is between locations. Next, you need to communicate where they're taking your stuff. Whether you have to communicate that both with the driver and with the company, specifically the driver. Double check that they know. This is very important, as well as tip number 3, being there at the exact time you tell the driver to be there, because many companies require you to be there to sign and pay at the time of delivery. This avoids stuff on their end, paperwork wise, and you aren't going to pay for material unless you know it's there, because things can go wrong. So next, and this is probably one of my biggest tips, is make sure you tell the driver exactly where you want the materials placed. This is big because say you have a giant pallet of patio pavers. Well, you don't want them right in the way of where you're building the patio, because you're going to have a big stack of bricks right in the way. So you set them off to the side. Well, if you put them across the yard, that way you're guaranteed out of your way. Then you have to take and carry all these bricks one by one by hand to the patio. So you have to figure out a good happy medium that's not going to be in the way of what you're building, but also it's convenient enough for you to carry your bricks to your spot. And then some tips before you have all your construction starting. Some tips would be to, if we're going with an example of building it on the back patio, start closest to the house, start laying your bricks closest to the house, and work your way out towards the yard. I say this because you're laying all these bricks down. Oh, I forgot this and this over there. Then you have to walk across all your freshly laid bricks that aren't even set yet, so you can mess something up. Also, another tip, if you do have to walk across your bricks, like you know the way the yard's set up or whatever, you're going to have to walk across them, get 1, 2, maybe even 3 sheets of plywood. This way, when you are stepping on the bricks, your weight is distributed evenly, because if not, you risk sinking a brick, like you have too much weight on your heel when you walk or whatever. You will push the brick deep into the sand, and then you have to tear apart a whole part of the section, or even just it's tedious work to lift up bricks and fill them in, stuff like that. So now that you have planned out what you're going to do, you want to make sure you lay out all of your bricks before you start making any cuts. You want to get all the center done, like avoid doing the edges till very last. I say this because if you start with the edges, then you're going to have all these cuts and stuff that aren't going to fit perfectly if you have to adjust it. Like if your lines aren't perfect in your patio and it's not perfectly horizontal lines, you're going to have to scoot some this way and scoot some this way just to make the lines perfect. Well, then you have cut bricks that are no longer long enough. So do all your cuts last. This way you're not wasting material and you're actually saving yourself time. When you cut your bricks, my last and final tip, when you cut your bricks, use a construction crayon. I say this because most people would just grab for the nearest pencil or marker or whatever they have that they usually use. But the patio paver stones require a brick saw, which uses water to avoid like excess friction and heat, and even like it helps with the dust that comes off when you're cutting these bricks. And marker and pencil would wash off with the water, and crayon does not. So now you're actually starting to build your patio. You gotta dig out the dirt to the level that you measured initially, and it goes with your blueprint. Get that dirt as level as can be. Then fill it with gravel. Your gravel needs to be thick and level. It should be 6 inches thick after you have compacted it. So if I had to guess right now, I would say in between 7 to 9 inches, depending on how much compacting you plan on doing. After you have compacted it, got it as level as can be, and to the correct height, then you put about 3/4 of an inch of sand on it. You have to get that sand perfectly smooth, because this is what is essential to keeping your patio completely level with no dents and divots and stuff like that. So now that you have your sand and your gravel and the majority of your patio done, even your cuts are done, you want to start putting the sand on top, the joint sand and stuff like that. Follow the directions on the box. It tells you what to do. You just have to sprinkle it on there and then brush it into place, and then compact it to get all of the stones set, and then brush it off the excess, and then spray it down and let it sit. And you can't walk on it for a couple hours. So that is my tips and tricks for building a paver patio. My name is McKenna. Thank you for watching.